do a new piece of writing, and this piece of writing is called a poem. Now, poetry is different from other forms of writing. It's a form that focuses on experiences, feelings, and ideas. Your poem is going to be a type of poem called free verse. I love free verse poems because they can break all the rules. It can have any number of lines, it can have any number of stanzas, and it can be grouped however you want. It does not have to rhyme, though it can. And it uses things like alliteration, when you repeat the first consonant sound, onomatopoeia, where a sound is written as a word. For example, would be written as clap, 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 clap. Or other types of figurative language that appeals to the reader's senses. One that we've used quite a bit so far in our reading are similes. So we're going to take and analyze first a poem that we're reading in class. This poem is called The Inventor Thinks Up Helicopters. And the first thing we're going to look for is how does the poet use figurative language? So we have the poem. Why not a vertical, whirling, winding bug that hops like a cricket, crossing a rug, that swerves like a dragonfly, testing his steering, twisting and veering, fleet as a beetle, up, down, left, right, jounce, bounce, day and night. It could land in a pasture the size of a dot. Why not? So I see here that my author uses some really cool figurative language. For example, it hops like a cricket, or swerves like a dragonfly. All of these things help me to understand. So on page 184 of your Reading Writing Companion, I want you to write down, how does the poet use figurative language? Write one of these. If you need to pause for more time, do it now. Now we're going to look, how does the poet's use of both long and short lines help describe the movement of the helicopter? Well, I see right here that they use some very short words, up, down, left, right. And this helps me visualize the directions without being confused about any other words. It gives me a really clear picture. I also see here they use some longer lines, and those longer lines help me picture it. I also noticed that as I was reading, I read my short lines fast. And I wrote my long ones a little bit slower. Sorry, I read a little bit slower. And that helped me to be able to catch a rhythm of the poem. It changed from line to line, but it kind of bounced. So over here, how does the poet use both long and short lines? Talk about how these ones help me visualize directions and helps me visualize how it's moving. If you need to pause for more time, pause now. Now turn to page 185, and you are going to take and think, okay, what do I want to write about? And I want you to think about a time you had to figure something out. I might use some of your soft start experiences this year because that's something you had to do. Maybe think about when you were in tech and you were trying to figure out how to build an airplane. Think back to PBLs you've done in previous years. I know some of you built gingerbread houses one year. And you're going to ask yourself, so talk about a plan or invention and how it could solve a problem. And you're going to actually write in page 185, right here, the problem is, and write what you think your problem is. A fun invention that would solve this problem is, no, it doesn't have to be real. You can make something up. What would this invention do? And you're going to think about those things and choose what is it you actually want to write about. Why do you want to write about this? Now remember, poetry is all about feeling. So what do you want your audience to feel as they are reading, as they are reading your poem? Go ahead and fill out page 185 with your ideas. Then go back to Empower for the next step.